Sick. Track looks awesome. The snowcross this weekend is going to be epic. It's a awfully big triple for a snowmobile, though. Man, these guys might have some hard time. Johnny. Hey, what's up? It's a Supercross track. It's a Supercross track? We're racing Monster Energy's Supercross in Denver, Colorado. There's snow. Dirtworks will clean it off. It'll be fine. It's Colorado. It's dry. They're racing dirt bikes? But there's snow on the ground. Sweet, let's watch some Supercross. Welcome back, subscribers. This is Johnny Hopper, and a lot went down in the Denver Supercross. First time in that stadium since, I believe it was like 96, and they had a big scenario going on with the city of Denver where they couldn't put the dirt actually on the stadium. So the Supercross track was like an oval around the stadium so that they weren't on the actual football field itself.
Stadiums that we go to where we're not allowed to run on the football field. This is one of them, but unlike some of the others, there's got a unique characteristic to Mile High. Take a look at the 12 sections of grandstand behind us here. They are actually not in their normal position. They're 200 feet off of the football playing surface. Now, how they do it? Well, a very high pressurized water system that lifts that entire grandstand section a total of 1/4 of an inch. Then a hydraulic pulley system over the course of 2 hours moves the grandstand back and forth for 200 feet. In fact, that's what we're standing on right now. The grandstand normally is right where we're at. Oh, by the way, guys, one last note. If the pulley system breaks, the three of us got to help push.
We'll let the wind do it here tonight, that's for sure, as we take a look at our Suzuki field summary, the starting grid.
Not the case this year. They're actually able to build a track on it, which was nice. The weather, however, it's Colorado, so there's been snow, it's been cold. Luckily, Dirtworks did a really good job of tarping it and getting everything, all the snow off of it, so that we had a hard pack, fairly slippery track to race on. But jumping into qualifying, Tomac was the fastest qualifier with a 42.9. Short lap times, very short lap times. And Marvin was second, 43.7. Dino, fourth, 43.5. Cooper Webb, much better practice or qualifying time. He was fifth with a 43.6. Roxon, eighth. Not very good for Roxon with a 43.8. Bogle 10th and Seeley 7th. Those are both of our heat winners. So a quick shout out to the local Colorado guys. Only 42 riders signed up in the 450 class, and 40 of them got to go to the night show. Jason Cooper was 40th, and Travis Bannister was 38th. So good for those guys. They were able to race the event here locally. Had a lot of fans cheering for him. I was cheering for him. In the 250 class, there was only 38 entries, and they take 40. So everyone that entered got to race the night show. And Dawson Newby, he was 35th fastest. He's from Colorado. And then Michael Henderson was 36th, and he's from Colorado as well. So it was cool to see those guys race the track. We had a lot of people rooting for him. So with qualifying, there's just some statistics that I wanted to tell you guys. So Cooper Webb, his average qualifying is actually 5.3. Looking at this information, I thought it would be lower. And actually, Eli Tomac's average qualifying is 7.4, if you can believe that. And Marvin is even worse than that. It's 8.4. And Roxon is a 5. So none of these guys have an average of 4 or better, which tells you just the level of competition in the 450 class. And in the 250 class, at least on the West Coast, Adam Cincerillo, his average qualifying is 2.6. So he's pretty much been the guy to beat. If you look at his laps led, he owns the majority of them. Dylan Fernandez is 5.6. Colt Nichols is same with AC with 2.6. So that's just some little information, show you guys, give you a little bit extra as far as statistics go when it comes to AMA Supercross. And then jumping into the track. Well, because we're in Colorado, we have this hard clay dirt, and we're at altitude. We don't have a whole lot of moisture. It's a very dry climate, so the track doesn't develop deep ruts. It's more of this hard packed base that gets real slippery, and it'll develop almost like potholes. If the track, it'll start breaking apart, but it'll start just getting big chunks taken out of the dirt. So it's not going to be as technical of a track as, say, something on the East Coast. So I'm sure a lot of the riders, especially the local boys, like that because we're used to riding this hard packed slippery stuff. It was cool to see that there was a 180-degree first corner that was very safe. I didn't see any accidents whatsoever on the track, at least around the first corner, like we've seen before with these 90-degree corners that I've addressed in the past. And because we're here at altitude in Denver, Colorado, or at least that's where the race was, it's relatively 5,300 feet or so, so the motorcycles don't make as much power. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the factory bikes were not running full-on race gas and actually had different motors to try to have less compression in them. I know that sounds crazy, but because of the deficit in just the lack of oxygen, it's somewhere like 18%. As opposed to sea level, these bikes don't make as much power, so they're not as fast. So I'm sure these guys could push these bikes harder, but they're potentially thinking that the bikes are going to jump faster, be able to get on the whoops a little bit easier than what they actually were, just because of the power deficit. So it's kind of a bummer. Not to mention it was cold. When I was in the stadium, it was right around 40 degrees for both main events, and I saw some guys running handguards, and there were no rocks on the track because it was a very hard packed clay terrain. The handguards are there to protect your hands from the wind, to try to keep them warmer longer, because if your hands freeze, it's almost like having an arm pump. You can't use your clutch or your front brake. You're kind of SOL. So I did see a few riders opt to go with handguards in Supercross, which is something that you normally don't see. I mean, Travis Pastrana used to do it all the time, but I think it was more of a iconic symbol as opposed to actually needing them. So here it was for weather. Getting to the 250 main event, that young kid Mosman, all right, he just got his factory ride. He's been relatively top 10, but he got the whole shot, and like I said in the heat races, was able to stay out front, take the fast line from Adam Cincerillo for a good portion of the race. I think it was something like 7 minutes or so, and then AC was able to get around him and just check out, just do what AC does. He's personally, in my opinion, the fastest 250 Supercross rider on the planet right now. And Dylan Fernandez needed to beat AC just for points because he's second in the championship, and he took a little while to get around Mosman. These guys went back and forth a couple times, but he looked like the fastest guy of the night in the whoops and was able to make the pass, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So in the 450 main event, it's pretty much about the top three. It was about Cooper, Webb, Tomac, and Marvin, because this championship is winding down, and those guys, all three of them, have the potential to win this championship. There's a lot of pressure on Cooper's shoulders, so I was extremely impressed with how he rode all weekend long. So Marvin gets the whole shot, does exactly what he should do to try to check out. Cooper and Tomac are right around 5th or 6th. Tomac gets around Webb fairly quickly. Webb can't really do anything. I mean, like I said, it was Tomac's night to lose because it's his hometown race. He was just on fire, fastest qualifier. Didn't have the best heat race. He had a good battle with Webb, but he didn't win it. Anyway, so Tomac was just on a tear, especially with him jumping that new rhythm of that triple, quad on, off, double, single into the corner. No one else was able to do that. He was relatively able to pick his way all the way up and get around Marvin for the lead. And Savacci and Cooper Webb, those guys had a back and forth battle. They were past each other 3 or 4 times, I believe, and I was very concerned because Savatgy has a record of being a very good team player, especially to Tomac. If you remember in October with the Monster Cup, what did Savatgy do?
Launches it for, oh, it's going to be the last Sam section.
Over the corner.
Savatgy by!
He just moved over, let Tomac by so that he could win the $1 million. He had every opportunity to put Cooper Webb on the ground because this was the battle for third. And if he would have thrown him on the ground at the time with Tomac winning, it would have been a 16-point deficit if Webb was to finish third. But if he was to be on the ground, you know, it might be under 10 points with 2 rounds to go. So I was very impressed with how Savatgy raced Webb cleanly, even though I know those guys don't particularly like each other or get along. So it was nice to see that nobody put each other on the ground. And it was cool to see Webb keeping his cool, going, man, Savatgy, you're slowing me down, but I'm not going to just totally clean you out because I can't risk going down myself because I have to finish as close to Tomac as possible. And he knew that. I'm sure his pit board mechanics were telling him, hey, you've got to catch Marvin. You absolutely have to catch Marvin because that's a 2 extra points toward the championship. And he was ultimately able to pass Marvin and make it to where there's only 18 points difference between him and Tomac with 2 rounds to go. Riders being able to on the fly adapt to new rhythm changes just blows me away. Throughout my whole career, I had to get stuff down in time qualifying, go triple, triple, or I'm going to go double, double, triple into the corner, whatever the rhythm may be. I had to do it in practice time qualifying because I wasn't going to jump it in the race. And that's potentially the reason why these guys were able to make it, I wasn't. But watching Tomac off the fly, just in that same rhythm that I said everyone was pretty much going double-double and go triple, quad on top, and then double off and something else, in my opinion, was just crazy. And to see Marvin, after he got past, do the same thing is, oh, I see him, he's leaving me, he's doing this, I'm just going to start jumping this. First time I saw him do it, he cased it, and then in the next lap, he was able to do the rhythm, but at that point, Tomac was already a little bit further away. And same thing when Cooper Webb caught Marvin. Marvin finally did another rhythm that I didn't see all day, even in time qualifying, where same rhythm section, these guys were going double, step over, huge seat bounce triple, then single, as opposed to double, double. To me, that just blows me away that those guys are able to do that on the fly. So I want to know what you guys think. Who's your favorite? Who you think is going to win the championship? Because Marvin and Tomac both have a shot of winning this thing and beating Webb. They're within 1 race of him with 2 races to go. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to see what happens, but I want to know what you guys think. And if you like what I'm doing, please hit subscribe. I make some tutorials on how to ride, so check them out. Until next time, this is Johnny, signing off.